So let's get started with our lab. So what we're gonna do here is to click import data from Excel and import your data set. This is gonna bring up this window right here, and this is where we choose that what data to bring in. So we can take a preview and just click on it. This is a pivot table we're looking at. Then we have a purchase overview. Let's select both of that and click on transform data. This will take us to Power Query. So this is how the Power Query looks like. Now this top header is our ribbon, and this ribbon offers a lot of functionality. We have things like remove columns, keep rows, etc. And here we have applied steps, and these are very important. Anytime we make any change to transform, it's going to be documented right under the change type. We can go back and look at it or even delete that change in the future. So here in our purchase overview table, we're just going to take a look at how Power BI decided to take this data in. So it shows this Apocalypse Food Prep overview as our first column, and then all of these other columns are just basically column 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is something we're going to change in just a little bit. You can see that we have our blank columns and some null values in our data. So it might be looking good in Excel, but for Power BI, we need to clean this data so that we can have our visualizations done. So the first thing we're going to do is to remove these top rows. So here, from the top ribbon, let's click on Reduce Top Rows. And we're going to give a number as 2 because we want to remove the top 2 rows. And there, you can see that the top 2 rows have been removed. The next thing we might notice is our top rows is somewhat our headers. So we're going to go onto our transform and click on use the first rows as headers. And there you go. We have our headers as we wanted. Now let's change the data type of these dates to decimal places. So all you have to do is click on this 1.2 and select decimal places. Let's just click on and replace current. And we're going to do this for all the dates. Next, we want to filter out the total products, and so we're going to go to the products and go to text filters. And here we're going to click on does not contains. And here in this prompt, let's just type in total, and there we have all the total values filtered out. Next, let's get rid of the grand total column. So we're going to click on this column, and from the ribbon, we're going to click on Manage Columns and then select Remove Columns. And there, we have our column removed. These columns are dates, does not really work well if you want to visualize this data. So let's just transpose these columns as well. So head over to Transform and click on Unpivot Columns. As you can see, we have our attribute columns as dates and the values placed appropriately. Let's change the row heading to Product-Cost and the location to Store Location. Now let's head over to our pivot table, and here let's transform this and make it easier to visualize the data. So the first thing we're going to do is label our first row as our row headers. So there you go. Now we have to pivot these months, January, February, March, and April. So select these and then go to the transform and select pivot. And here the columns, when we unpivot it, we have our January, February, March, and April as our rows. And these are not dates, so we cannot change the data type as date. Then this will give us an error. And that is because actually it is text. So let's just leave that as is. And the very last thing we're going to do is close and apply. So once we click on that, we have worked on is going to be applied to the actual data, and it's going to be loaded into Power BI to create our visualizations. And now our data is pulled out right here. And we can go see that by clicking on data. We have both the tables here, as you can see. This ends our lab here. I hope that you understand the Power Query concept which is just to transform and clean the data to make visualizations. Thank you for watching.